Well, I think NVIDIA is an important stock because they touch so many areas within tech. This is not like it's a memory chip maker or it's a PC chip maker. It's really heavily involved everywhere. So the good news for NVIDIA longs is that this company has already given guidance, and the guidance was not great. But that happened back on, I think, August 5th or August 8th. So if you were trading, I think, based on this particular quarter, you probably already have. So I would say, like, that's the good news. The bad news is there's probably not a recovery between now and the end of the year in some of the markets where NVIDIA says things are softening. And those include video games, just generally cryptocurrency, which is a small part of the business, and, of course, PCs. But I don't think the investment thesis hinges on a crypto recovery and people racing out to buy GPUs for mining. Like, that's not what really should be moving this stock. The data center is going to become more and more important as the quarters go on, and the data center business is absolutely on fire. Cloud is on fire. So I think that that's what the bulls will be focused on. I think they'll want some reassurance from that area of the business. But they've already guided to a revenue number that's more than $1 billion below what the expectations were. And all things considered, the stock has weathered that okay.
Well, I mean, look, the stock has been cut in half, right? The big worry, though, is that there's another shoe to drop tonight, even after that pre-announcement. And that would be the news that investors in that stock and tech overall do not want to hear.
Of course. This is always going to be the case. NVIDIA is interesting, though, in that they do have a lot of levers to pull because of the diversified nature of the business. And so if they tell you that the outlook is similar to what they already told us 2 weeks ago, it's hard to imagine that being a huge stock-moving event. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm certainly not in it for this quarter. As a long-term investor in NVIDIA over the course of years, they've had soft quarters before. They've had negative and positive pre-announcements. We've seen it all. So I think focusing on the strength of the most important end markets going out more than one quarter is advisable.
Okay. Just to remind everybody, too, Salesforce, a Dow stock is imminent. Snowflake is a very important stock for the cloud universe, the enterprise spend as well. We're waiting on those numbers to cross. Reporters standing by to pop on the minute that all of that happens. So all that said, Josh, and NVIDIA is going to be in just a little bit. Past week alone, NVIDIA's down 7, Meta's down 7. These are percentage losses. Alphabet 5, Microsoft 5, Amazon 6, Apple 5, NASDAQ 100 is down 4. How are you feeling right now about tech with Jackson Hole looming?
Well, look, these stocks are probably less susceptible to Jackson Hole in terms of their actual fundamentals, their businesses. But of course, from a sentiment standpoint, these are some of the biggest, most widely held stocks. And if people want liquidity or people want less beta, they will be sold if what we hear out of Jackson Hole is an adverse development. That being said, rates, 10-year rate over the last 5 days up 27 basis points. That's a pretty notable move. I think that prices in a lot of potential hawkishness. I don't think the market's going to be completely caught off guard by the Fed continuing to speak vigilantly. And I think, on balance, like, that's kind of what you want them to do. I don't think you want them to cave to a stock market correction at this stage in the game. We have to wrest this inflation thing to the ground. So
how much?
I don't know. Go ahead.
How much risk lies in the next couple of days, do you think, as far as you see the markets, which you've made the case pretty consistently that we've been in a downtrend? We haven't been able to get over the 200-day moving average for the S&P, but how much risk do you feel lies ahead over the next 48 hours?
Well, I guess I would say we went back and looked at stock market reaction to Jackson Hole historically, and there's not a long history. There's not decades of this. This has really only become a market event in, let's say, since Bernanke's time. But they don't typically use Jackson Hole to do an about face or to give people some sense that there's a dramatic shift in policy. They actually have tended historically to use it more politically. They've done things like talked about minority unemployment, and they've talked about white papers that have more to do with, like, societal impact of Federal Reserve policy. They haven't used it in the format that maybe some people think they're about to. So if they do, that would probably be a shock. It's just not what I would have as my baseline expectation.